Hello there, folks, and welcome to the stream. My name is Mike D'Angelo, aka that Tellest guy. We are back looking at a couple of our maps. It's probably going to be a quick one today. I almost didn't do the stream just because I was feeling a little worn out. We spent a lot of time over the past week or so working on maps, and I'll show you a little bit about what we accomplished for the contest that we were hoping to do well in. We'll talk about that more in a bit. We're going to be looking at Matt's maps because his 5 maps that he's worked on are the final 5 maps that we have for our base set of 50 that we've got for the upcoming Kickstarter. That is 1 week out from today. That was one of the reasons that I figured I really can't, not stream this week. This is one of those things that we have to put a focus on. But we are going to look at the maps that we have done. Again, like I said, I worked on a 3x3 map, like a 120 by 60 tile map over the weekend and last week, and my brain is just kind of a little bit fried, so we're going to look at other stuff in the meantime. But Matt's maps are pretty darn good, so we're looking at those first. This was the 46th map that we had. This is Lost Valley. We kind of positioned it in our heads, in our headcanon, as kind of like a lost place in the island of Raylani, which is one of the places that we explored in the 3rd Ancestral Magic book. And the whole concept was just like the weather patterns and stuff like that screwed things up enough where this valley ended up, it can be found by the people on the island. It might not actually be on Raylani. It might be on like a neighboring island or something like that, but it leads them to like a new potential archaeological find, something like that. Excuse me. I figure since we're here, Matt doesn't like stream for himself anymore, so we're trying to show people the cool work that he does. He did a version of the map that has like some extra flooding coming up from over here, so you can see the water expanded beyond just what we have down here, and tons of rain, which is the contributing factor for all that. And then we've got the bats and bugs, and if we scroll in, you can see the bats coming from here, and you got some weird little cockroachy beetles looking things. Just something small and fun that he had a fun time developing. I don't remember. I know we looked. Ooh, me trying to fix another map. I know we looked at the Sarah Moore stuff. We looked at the Mines elevator shaft. I don't know if we looked at the Fey River, so we'll look at that real quick. So this is Matt's second map in the set. So he gave us something that was right up there with like Folly's Glen as far as what looked like it would kind of fit in that part of the world. So we've got like all these phosphorescent trees and everything like that, and obviously the green water is indicative of this is kind of like a magical place. And we've got whoever lives here, they live in this little circular like tree-like structure. Couple of points of interest. We've got the big toppled mushroom over here, a fountain, like a bird bath looking thing over here with a bunch of morpho butterflies. You can tell the water here is a little bit different than the water over here, so for better or worse. Big carnivorous plant. Matt really likes his carnivorous plants these days. Let's head to, actually, let's look at a couple of his variants there. So we've got the variant that has the roof. We've got a variant with no house. And I did a night version with some rain. Just thought simple, elegant. The next one that he gave us was this Trail to Den map. This is his 3rd map, so it's number 48 for us. He had a lot of like tribal elements here. The original map, it was left of here. It was our spider den map that he did. And to some extent, like, it matches up pretty well. Like, he used this cliff style and everything like that. But it really didn't have like tribal influence or anything like that. So we tweaked a couple of things to make it look the right way. Let's go back to... We tried this first, So this is like no influence. You can't see like any of the tribal influence anymore. You've got like the pedestal, which kind of denotes something. And I mean, it was a ziggurat. You know, it's got like that kind of tribal look to it and everything. Um, we kept the influence here, but kind of blended the greenery that we had from that map. 'Cause the other thing that we had was, um, while the spider den has kind of been the it was the original version that Matt made. The one that we like put out at like fairs and conventions and stuff is like the shrine, um, and that had like all this greenery and things like that. So we felt like that was more to the point and everything. We've got this version that has a little bit of water in the area. Pretty much everything stays the same. You still got like the birds flying around overhead. Not a good sign. If birds are flying around, they find something to eat. It just could be you. A little bit more water. You can see that it's starting to come up against the cliffs, and then even further, and we bring some canoes into the mix. We looked at the wishing well. I changed these trees for a variant here for the shrine. Let's go to the wishing well next. Oh, I got rid of the shrine for their thing too. So this was the base map for the wishing well, and let's see, we got. I'm trying to do like 3 variants from now on, so that we average 150 maps for a set of 50, and I'm trying to up that to around 170 if we can. So this is since we were just looking at the shrine map, there's these kind of trees that start to like push further south, and I thought it was a little bit more cohesive if we had it like this. So we've got that as a potential option. We've got this version where it's a poison well, and it's starting to impede the progress of the plant life around here. And then just a simple night version. We've got the fairy over here sleeping, glowing a little bit brighter. Let's head back to Matt's map. So the Torturer's Pit is his 49th map for it. Well, it's the 49th map. It's his 4th map for us from this set. If you can see, it's a grisly map compared to a lot of the stuff that he does. He does some gloomier maps and some darker stuff, but this was There Will Be Blood. The building is all kind of in disarray and falling apart. The ladder here is falling apart, things like that. And I was telling Matt, sometimes working on his maps is a little bit like, I feel like that's supposed to be a door, but I can't remember. Oh, those are arches. That's fine. I feel like it's a little bit like Power Wash Simulator. Like there's a niceness in cleaning up the battle damage that he has. So you can see here, like the walls are in good shape and everything like that. I got rid of the rubble, and then we've got another version where I scrubbed it down real good. No blood, no guts, and anything like that. We've got the well was gone. I kind of wanted to do almost like an unfurnished version so that people could put whatever they wanted inside. And I think that's going to be like one of our things going forward, is if we do have like an indoor map or a map that has indoor components, we will do something like that where you can do whatever you want to it. And then the third variant with this one was we wanted to kind of lean into the blood and guts instead of going the opposite direction. So the entire pit down here is just one giant lake of blood. His 40... Wait, that actually might have been his 49th map for us, right? We got... Lost Valley was 1. Fey River was 2. Trail to Den was 3. Yeah, Torturer's Pit was 4. And this is the one that's going live tomorrow on the Patreon. We have his Murky Waters map. Fun fact about this one, this was the first map that Matt ever did. He was kind of inspired by the Witcher show on Netflix, so he wanted like some kind of gnarly creature to be able to kind of come out of the water, so you can see like the tentacles here, and he wanted to be able to envision that fight for here. So I mean, he probably started on this map like 2.5 years ago, I would have to say. So it's been a long time coming. He definitely changed some things. Originally it was probably like just there, and then he expanded it to fit the notion of where our maps usually are with the 20 by 40. And then I put together some variants. So we've got this kind of like snowy one where everything is iced over and cracked and everything. And you just see, snow on the ground below and everything. And this one, again, talking about kind of taking a power wash to things, we've got this version of the map that just looks like any other friendly map that you would see. We don't even, I think, have the creature here anymore. That's not, there's nothing bad in the area. Just a nice little pretty map that could like vaguely connect to, our forest maps or something like that. Just looks really nice. And then finally we have this one here, which I'm calling Witchy Waters. The Witch's Hut map that we made last Halloween, I felt like this fit in with that pretty well. They had like the purple water, and I felt like you could still kind of keep the murky look, but just do a little bit of this kind of like pinkish purple color over top. So again, like a vague connection, not like a one-to-one where if I moved up here you would see the map or anything like that. Just thought it was a nice little twist to it. And I think the other big thing that we have to talk about is the contest map. And we'll show off these later. But that's a special treat. That's a special treat for later. So we had worked on the Ancestor Festival, which was the I'm going to unpublish you because there's no point in you being published anymore. I didn't win. This was the contest map that we worked on for the festival stuff that they worked on this past week, and we'll just give you a quick look at how everything turned out. So the idea is that like when you arrive on the site, you can come up this road by carriage. If you're on foot, you can just kind of come in here and you'll see these little admission tents here and there, but by carriage is where I kind of imagined many people showing up. So they come around here, they can park down here, and there's stables up this way that the attendants can bring the carts to and things like that. This is the official entrance to the building, and if you wanted to, you could enter this way to get admission, or you can enter this way. And then here's where you start to see some of this fun stuff. So we've got a couple of brother vendors here who, they'll end up going and getting special artifacts from in the world antiquities and selling them here at the fair. We've got, sometimes I just kind of put something together, not really like figuring out what they sold. I wanted it to be a little bit vague in case I wanted to use this map for myself later. We got a little pony ride ring. This is the main vendor area next to the main stage. So there's a fake dragon skeleton here that is kind of propped up on like sticks, and they're telling some kind of story with this skeleton. I tried to make sure that just about everything that was being sold was unique to whatever table. So like you wouldn't see various knickknacks at any place. So we have cloth, we have clothes, we have like pendants and necklaces and stuff like that. This is a hat salesperson. This is books. This is urns and pots and stuff like that. This is cheese, different cheeses. This is the cheesemonger. We've got a bunch of candles here, which is why you can see the tent is kind of burned up. There's some rings and jewelry boxes over here. This one is the resolution is so bad I can't really tell, and I can't remember. Oh, this is tools. So this is like axes and pickaxes and fishing poles and stuff like that. Also candles, but these are skull candles. You can see there's a lot of skull motifs and skeleton motifs, and that is because this festival is the Ancestor Festival. It's actually inspired by an event that we explored in one of the Tellest short stories. This is Bixby Aladocious and the Ancestor Festival. So they kind of celebrate their ancestors in kind of like macabre ways. So that's why the skeletons and the skulls and everything, but it's because it's a celebration instead of like, oh, like we're going to mourn them. We're going to mourn them, but like in a way that's kind of nice. So we've got over here is You got me, I can't remember. This is masks, and this is like little coffins, like toy coffins almost. And as you come down this way, you'll see here we've got kind of like a midway game. So this is like balanced cups, and you're trying to knock them down with these balls. And here, again, the resolution's not really doing me a lot of favors, and that's probably one of the reasons that it didn't receive the accolades that it absolutely deserved. Just kidding. This tree here has a bunch of skeletons hanging from it. Whether they're real or not, maybe that's up to whoever's running the session. We've got a fortune teller over here, along with like a little Zen garden back here with like one of those poles that you can kind of let draw like lines in the sand and stuff. We've got a lovely little Ferris wheel that we put together. And as you make your way over this way, you'll start to see, food vendors up here. So we've got drinks that are served in skull-shaped mugs. We've got some like different food choices from across the world. This is a lot of baked goods and confections and stuff like that. Here's some vegetarian options. Down here, you'll start to see a little bit of stuff. So here's like potted plants. Nothing here. You figure everything's below the tent there. Here you've got paintings and picture frames and stuff like that. They're working on another painting. More herbs and urns and pots and stuff like that. Brianna says the fireworks look cool. Thank you. I thought that made it pop a little bit. I don't think it looked as much like night as it should have. And maybe that was a contributing factor in whether or not it would have done good. I probably should have had like torches and lanterns and stuff like that all about, but it's okay. Festivals happen during the day as well. We've got a rug salesperson over here. This person's selling herbs and vegetables and things like that. Some outdoor dining area. Another vendor over here, and I wanted to basically make a couple of places where you could connect to other maps if you wanted to. So we've got the left area over here, a couple of spots up here in the north, this spot over here on the east, this spot over here on the south. This is our big blacksmith tent over here, so you can see they've got a little forge going on. This probably should have been brighter too. Kind of screwed up by leaving that out. Cider sellers, so you got people who are selling some kind of alcohol. And then this is like our animated skeleton show, so I imagine like wizards that are making these skeletons seem like they're dancing on their own. Not necromancy, just wizards. This is a tent that was inspired by the first time that Rihanna and I went to vend at a Renaissance fair. So you've got all the stuff that we actually sell. So you've got her magic wands, got my books up here, and then down here you've got maps, and Rihanna has like a treasure chest filled with like pens and like mixtures of gems and stuff like that. So I thought that was a cute way to represent the things that we've done. We've got some hammer games over here. So we've got like the test of strength here and Whack-A-Skull. So you can see a couple of skulls that are halfway out over here. And then here's some more, skill-based games over here. We've got archery and axe throwing. All these vendors up here are kind of like piratey based. And we've got a little kitty over here. That's their mouser for when they're sailing. And then here is a toy vendor. So you can see toy soldiers, rocking horses, some dolls and some teddy bears and stuff. Once you get inside the building, there's some more admission stuff. All this place for eating. This is the prep area for food, and this is the kitchen. This is where all the food is being put together. This is where it's being carved up for everybody else. Food. Again, connective tissue to another part of this map. So these stairs are going down to the basement, and then here is a child-friendly part to the fort. This is Fort Beckett. So we'll give you a little bit of context for why we made this look like this. So when Rihanna and I went to the Renaissance Fair, it was taking place at a place called the Moravian Tile Works, and it's one of only like 3 concrete poured buildings in Bucks County. So there's Fonthill Castle, and there is the Mercer Museum, and it was all made by Mr. Mercer or whoever. And when I was going down the Wikipedia rabbit hole, there was another name for the Moravian Tileworks, and I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but it ended up being the same as like an abbey in England, and I went based off of the person's name to make the fort, which was Fort Becket. Um, so yeah, so that's the map that we did. It ended up being a 3x3, so you can see I identified each of the maps by where the fireworks are. So we've got a map up here, 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 and here. We're going to separate these into the individual maps, and we'll sell them on Drive-Thru RPG at like a deep discount because it's, you know, a 9-map zone. All that good stuff. Let's see if we have anything else. I'm not going to be doing any maps today. We're just reviewing. But I think, again, those are maps that we're going to show off next week. They're a secret for now. We've got a couple more maps that Matt worked on. And then I'm doing a little bit of prep work to do the bonus maps for people after we get to certain points in the campaign. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for now. So let's close up shop. We'll make it easy. Like I said, it's been a busy week. Making that big festival map was a lot of work. So let's close the show. Folks, on the screen right now, you'll see all the places that you can find Tellest out there on the internet. Tellest.com Tellest.com is a great first place. Yeah, my brain is mush. Tellest.com is a great first place to look because it'll usually bring you to our other projects. We actually have the link to the Tellest Kickstarter on the Tellest website. It's right there on the left once you go to the main page now. We have a couple of places where you can find some of our premium stuff. Patreon.com/Tellest is where we post our maps, variants, high-res, gridded and ungridded, on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We've got our 50th map going up tomorrow from the second set. It ended up being something like our 110th map overall, something like that. I don't know exactly, but and then we've got plans to, throughout the campaign, release more maps on Patreon as well. You're not getting the maps on the Kickstarter because they're exclusive. You're getting the maps there because they're the cheapest that you're going to find them anywhere. Tellest.etsy.com is where you can find physical versions of our maps. We ended up ordering a decent amount of maps for the Renaissance Fair, all that good stuff, so we're going to be showing them off during the campaign as well, because at this point I think we have like 25 or 35 maps that we can show. And then battlemapfantasy.com will bring you to our Drive-Thru RPG publisher page so that you can get those maps there as well in digital form if that's what you would prefer. We've also got 2 TikTok channels for you to look at. We've got tiktok.com/@WeirdWitchWands, where you can see Rihanna's magic wands, but the big one is tiktok.com/@TillsOfTellest, where you can find our famous Poochies. We went live on TikTok for the first time ever yesterday and did like a nice little crossover episode. And people who were watching the Twitch channel while we were doing that were treated to the wonderful sight of Luna flipping of her own volition to get her new toy. So that was a lot of fun. The last 2 places that I'll bring your attention to are youtube.com/@WorldOfTellest and twitch.tv/ThatTellestGuy, which is where you can find us after Twitch knocks us off the platform and where you can catch us live. As you can tell, my voice is starting to go, so we're going to close this out, and I will see you tomorrow for more map making goodness. Until then, I'll miss you.